What's going on, guys? It's the Infinity Blerd, your friendly neighborhood nerd and movie buff, with my boy
Davu.
Here to talk about the movie that everybody's going to see this weekend. Whack, man. I mean,
Oh, don't start, man. Don't start. It's not whack, guys. It's not whack.
I mean, the Batman.
The Batman. Yeah.
Well, first let's talk about whether or not you should see the movie or not.
Yeah.
And clearly, as somebody who was ready to hate on the movie.
Oh yeah. That's him, not me.
Yeah. he was trying to convince me.
I'm always like I try to be as you know, I try to be as down the middle as I possibly can. A lot of times with especially with solo films, because I think Warner Brothers, in terms of their solo movies, they're doing a pretty good job. Like the Joker was really good. Yeah. You know, this is. It gets a little bit problematic once they start to do a universe.
When they start to do too much.
Yeah, then it gets...
Yeah,
I think it's like a conflict. It's like a whole conflict of ideas and a whole lot of heads coming together.
I mean,
whereas
it works,
this one, it's like, all right, we're going to give Matt Reeves just his own vision, and he's going to take it from there.
It works for Marvel, I guess, to a degree, but that's an issue I have with Marvel. If you look at the solo movies,
the studio in general, I mean, that's just Disney kind of like has to go down that lane just because of like their policy with like, you know, just
not even though, but the
Disney
solo
franchise.
movies lose themselves because the solo movies aren't really solo movies. You look at the first Spider-Man Homecoming, it's not a solo movie because Iron Man is all up in it.
Oh no, it's no.
If you look at Spider-Man 3, I mean, it's a proper Spider-Man movie, but Doctor Strange is also, if you look, he's on the cover too, you know? So, or even Captain America. By the time you got to Winter Soldier, you have Black Widow all up in it and everything. So it's like a Avengers, you know, like 1.8 or something like that. You know, and Civil War isn't even a...
I don't know, Tony. I disagree.
Civil War isn't even a Captain America movie.
Okay, that's probably the only thing I'll agree with you.
That's Avengers 2.5.
Civil War is an Avengers movie, so to speak, because of the casting.
But anyway, the point is that with these like big universes, the solo stories, they get lost. We haven't had like a Batman movie where it's just him dealing with the rogues in quite some time. All right, so originally we were supposed to get a solo movie from Batfleck, from the same Snyder universe, but
Warner Brothers.
Yeah, but they try to play him.
Yeah, well, Warner Brothers, basically.
Yeah, Warner Brothers try to play him.
Yeah,
a lot of controversy with the Snyder cut. Also, he was going through some like alcoholism and stuff, and so yeah. But he originally wrote out a script where it's like Joe Manganiello's Deathstroke.
Yeah, I read about that.
Just like picks apart his life and everything. And so they were going to do that, but he decided to tap out. So for whatever reason, they decided to go with another type of, I guess, a younger Batman to freshen it up and stuff. So we ended up getting Matt Reeves and Mr. Sparkles.
Yeah, I was stop with Mr. Sparkles, man.
Mr. Sparkles.
No shade shall be thrown upon Robert Pattinson today, right?
I gotta get my last roastings out, and then after that I'm gonna leave it alone because he did do a good job. But I mean,
in the beginning, I mean, it was. I think a lot of people were like skeptical. A lot of people,
including me. Yeah.
You were going off on Facebook, man. So I saw.
First of all, I wasn't a fan from the stills. I wasn't a fan of the costume at all. Like the costume was pretty.
Did it have like a? Well, I thought it had like a really. I don't know. It looked light for one. It didn't look bulky. And the thing is, I know about Robert Pattinson is that he's not a bulky guy.
Yeah, and you're going from Batfleck to Pattinson, and it's like, dude, I don't know if I could believe that he can mess somebody up. He looked iron deficient. He looked sick, man.
Fair point. There actually is. You know what's funny? There actually is a shot. Where is it, man? Okay, we'll get to that later. But there is a shot where I was like, I don't know, this guy just doesn't look. Yeah, he doesn't look healthy.
He don't look healthy.
He does not look healthy.
Yeah. So
which is crazy because it's like, I feel like, even though his whole thing in the movie was, this is spoiler free for now, by the way. His whole thing is that he doesn't really care. He doesn't really care for much. You can kind of get an idea of that. Like he's just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna do whatever I want, even if it kills me. I really don't care. He doesn't look like he takes care of his body.
Well,
like in terms of just like
there was some controversy because he said like I think it was like a bad joke. I guess sometimes we can't take like British humor where he said something like he wasn't trying to work out, so everybody took it like seriously. So, but at the same time, he still don't look bulky or anything. So, and also I read an article about Tenet where he was filming Tenet and didn't understand what was going on in the movie that he was like in.
Listen, so, in fairness, there were times during Tenet I was mad.
Oh, I was completely lost, but I'm not in the movie.
I was like, what is going on?
Yeah. But the thing is, David Washington understood it and had to break it down to him. So it's like...
What?
Yeah, David Washington was explaining to him
what
was going on in the movie that he was in. So I was like, man, who is this guy? The first trailer was released, and I'm not going to lie, everything looked fire about it.
I mean, the casting for me was where... I think that's where this movie really did well.
Casting except... Well... Madison was a little sus.
I mean, it was sus in the beginning because I listen. I think a lot of people just didn't give him. Even he said like he got a lot of criticism, or at least just people just roasted him, like told you being one of them, about him in a suit for like in a costume for one. It's like, nah, we can't take this dude seriously, man. He doesn't look like he can fight at all. Yeah. Forget that. He has no physicality about him.
I'm still used to seeing him. You remember when he got mollywopped in Harry Potter? Voldemort. He just killed him.
Listen, from Harry Potter to Bruce Wayne. I mean, that's quite a jump, man. Yeah. It's quite a jump. Can't hit on that. It's quite a jump.
Potter. He went from Cedric Diggory to Edward. You know, I still can't over Cedric Diggory, man. Voldemort had his crusty toes on his face. You remember that shit? I was like, damn, that's disrespectful. And then he went
man.
He went to Twilight.
I mean, he did have a whole bunch of movies he did in between, but none of which were as iconic. I did hear Lighthouse was amazing though,
and then he went to Batman. So it's like, I mean, at the same time, it's like, yeah, I definitely didn't give him a fair shot.
So wait, what about the costume? You didn't say you didn't like the costume. Like, what was it? Is it just?
Well, look, the nose is flat.
Okay.
I thought Bane punched him in the face before the movie started, and that's why.
Stop it.
It was flat like that. But I understand
Didn't
that was
too much armor, or just in general, or I mean, what?
It just looked too crude for me. I guess since it's year 2 for him.
Yeah.
I guess it's supposed to look crude, but I don't know. It looks strange to me. Going forward, like watching the actual movie, like, and not just the stills, the suit looks nice. It looks cool. It works and stuff.
Even the Tims.
Oh, the slow motion. The slow motion Tims were kind of dope. I'm not gonna lie. The slow motion Tims were kind of dope. The casting was well done. Paul Dano as the Riddler, like
I really never like I didn't see that coming. Like he was even after. Okay, we'll get into that later. But even after I mean, people know that he's the Riddler, right? I mean, from the casting point of view.
What do you mean?
Like people like it's not a spoiler if we like say like he's
no.
Oh, okay. But even after he's like out of uniform, so to speak, and you see him like locked up, it's just like what the hell? Like this dude, it's crazy because it's like Gotham is such a how do I say this morbid, like dark environment. But then when you see Paul Dano like out of mask and out of uniform, dude looks clean as hell.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how like the contrast with that works. It's like,
but that's how like killers look though.
You know,
you look at all the killers out, they all look clean shaven and this, that, and the third and stuff weird, like that.
He had glasses. He looked.
Yeah.
He looked. You know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But yeah, I understand why they use a costume they did for him.
You weren't sold on that?
I wasn't sold on, but I'd rather pick that over Jim Carrey,
and
the latex, he looking like Peter Pan. He had the orange carrot hair, gyrating and shit. What the?
Listen, I think any movies, like any comic book movies made pre-Nolan?
Not even though, because you got the Tim Burton
early
movies.
2000s.
The Tim Burton movies were fire, and they were in the 90s. It was that the Joel Schumacher era.
Yeah.
That was very the bat nipple era.
Bat nipple.
That was problematic. So I guess I'll take. But
it was twisted. But just jumping back onto what we were saying is that I think when the trailer came out, I think that's when people started getting more and more convinced, like, all right, this looks like it's gonna be a good movie.
Yeah,
it looks like it's just from an artistic point of view. I mean, it looks as if Warner Brothers said, all right, we're going to let a director direct.
Right.
And we're not going to try to water it down for the sake of... Because it was 3 hours, man.
Yeah, it was more. It was definitely more like vision based. That's why I think AMC, they considered it the artisan film or whatever.
I'm still mad at AMC, man. Apparently they charge people like extra...
An additional $1 for it. Yeah, they be trifling. But that's why you got to have the A-list and stuff. But, yeah, so... Yeah, in terms of cinematography, like, you got to see if you're not even a fan of Batman alone, the cinematography is easily the best.
It's easily the best part, man.
From any movie.
The lighting, every scene had its own unique set of... I mean, whether it was the club scene, whether it was them... I think that was Commissioner Gordon's apartment. Like, right by the back... Or was that an apartment? Or just right by that back signal where they're sort of, like, looking out into the skyline. I mean, that
was really well done.
And that was... You know what's funny is that was probably... And I think I said this to you after we watched it. That scene and just towards the end is probably the only time throughout the whole movie where we see any sunlight at all.
Right.
Like the rest of the movie, it's foggy, it's misty.
Well, I would hope
it's
during
at
a
night.
Batman movie.
You know what I mean? You really get the feel. All right, this is Gotham.
Yeah, well, it's not like
that's really.
It's not like Justice League where you had Batman walking around holding his knee, like, you know, grabbing it like he's Peter Griffin. You know, all in the daylight, looking corny and shit. Yeah.
Oh man, no, but Gotham, like, you really felt that you were in Gotham.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that this guy, I forget his name. I'll try to interject it later. Whoever the DP is, gave Wally P. Pfister a run for his money and stuff. Yeah. Like, that shit was really well done. But anyway, long story short, the movie is worth seeing. You need to watch it. I think everybody did a good job, and now we're gonna get into the specifics and stuff. So back to the cinematography. Like, the scene where he's walking through the hallway, and the only time you see light.
Oh yeah, the club
when
scene.
The machine guns go off.
The club
and
scene.
stuff.
The club scene.
I think it was. There was a lot of club scenes. I think it was like the third.
And
the third club. But I'm always like a fan of like club lighting and party scenes and stuff like that. And like, the way it was like really well done. But yeah, when he's running to the hallway, and it had the same energy as that scene in Rogue One when Vader is walking around with the lightsaber. You could tell the framing is exactly the same. Man. So exactly the same. I thought that was so. But anyway, yeah. So I'm always a sucker for that kind of scene.
I liked in the you know what I liked from, I don't know. I think from a storytelling point of view, I liked how there was some sort of like narration in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, well, because it's essentially a detective story, and detective stories normally have the main guy narrating what's going on. But
it also really gives you sort of like a window into like what's going on into this guy's head. You know what I mean? Because as you said, it's like it's year 2 Batman. I mean, and they don't really get into like the origin story, like, you know how every Batman does. It's like, all right, we got to show him getting his parents killed, all that. They don't really get into that. It's just like, all right, what is going on inside the mind?
Yeah, it wasn't an origin story.
Yeah, that's another thing as well.
Yeah, we stick at origin stories. There's no need to be shown. We know what happened.
Yeah, we know what happened.
He got bitten by a radioactive bat, and that's it. Now I'm just like,
he did not get bit by a damn radioactive bat.
But yeah. So yeah, that's one thing that separates this Batman movie from the others. It's a proper detective story. A lot of hints of Year One. A lot of hints of Long Halloween.
Yep.
Hush. It's just like we've never got that before. It's normally just Batman beating the crap out of people, but now he really was like using his mind and stuff. And I really like the relationship between him and Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah.
Like, I really felt like
he said "dude" a lot. I don't know if you noticed. Like, Commissioner Gordon kept saying "dude."
Oh, really? I didn't think that. I gotta see that again.
Because it's weird. Because it's like it's Jeffrey Wright, and you're just like, all right, it's weird. Because he's like a much older, like, just actor in general. So I was like,
why saying dude?
I was like, okay, no, but it's just their interaction is kind of like, because he says, you know, everybody doesn't like you, and it's like, I'm trying to bring you onto this stuff, so you got to meet me halfway. I don't really know you like that. I don't know how old you are. Yeah. So it's just, I think that's his way of just trying to connect with Batman, and I think it worked out perfectly, actually.
Yeah.
Nah, that was pretty good, man. Definitely. That was pretty good.
Yeah, the relationship between Catwoman and Batman, I enjoyed that too. I don't know if I like it more than Michael Keaton's Batman and Michelle Pfeiffer's.
Michelle Pfeiffer, yeah.
But it's up there. It's different. I enjoyed it. What I like about this Batman, though, is this Batman is still... He hasn't, like, adopted the Bruce Wayne persona. Because when it comes out to it, that's who he is. Yeah. The Riddler states that, oh, like, you as Batman, that's who you really are. Anything else is your mask. Yeah. So he's very awkward, antisocial for obvious reasons. Yeah. Dude just hangs out in a cave all day. And I guess...
But it's funny because I think Robert Pattinson also... I don't know. Robert Pattinson also has that thing of... He looks like the type of guy to be, like, weird and antisocial.
Oh, no, he definitely looks weird.
He really... Yeah. And I think that's, you know, a lot of reviews that I read over where people were, like, complaining, oh, we didn't get a lot of Bruce Wayne scenes. And I was like, you know what? I didn't mind what we got.
I mean, there were some blank stares where you're just looking at the camera, looking confuzzled and shit, looking like emo Peter Parker and shit, hair over. So, but, I mean, for the most part, like, it worked. I mean...
No, it definitely worked, man. I think, you know, moving forward, what they'll probably do is that they'll try to, like... Because one thing that he's doing is that he's... I think, because you said it's a detective story, he's learning on the job.
Yeah.
He's learning as things goes on. It's like, in the beginning of the movie, we have that sort of... that speech that he gives about fear and sort of, like, how he uses that as a tool. You see, like, the bat signal go up, and it's like, all right, this is... You know, like in film, it's about objective. What is your objective? What is the character's objective? What are they doing? The way he gets to what he wants to get is through fear. But as the movie goes on, it's like, oh shit, you know, one moment before he goes into the club, he's like, you know who I am? I'm Bruce Wayne, and then he beats the crap out of everybody. Yeah. Then the next time he goes in there, it's like, oh, you know who I am? He's not going as Batman anymore.
That was now the beginning he's going as it. Yeah, he was there are some places that they touch on that in Batman versus Superman, I think, when he has to get into the underground fights and stuff. Is it Batman versus Superman? Yeah, where he goes in as Bruce Wayne.
Oh, okay.
And stuff. Okay. You know, and he gets a phone, he clones the guy's phone. Yeah. So there's some places that Bruce Wayne can get to that Batman can't get to.
And I think he learns that, like, the first time, because the first time it was a whole, man, I think that's where he took dude's rifle, and he was just, no, that's at the end, where he was, like, swinging it.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, the combat, man, the action scenes were like real. What'd you think about that?
I liked it. Yeah, it felt very Arkham video game like. It was good. It was well done. It was definitely well, and the way it was shot was really well done. Yeah, it didn't feel as methodical as Nolan's stuff does, where it clearly looks like choreography. Yeah. You know, yeah, the relationship between Battison and Catwoman, yeah. I enjoyed it because he's essentially a socially awkward person. He hasn't really, you know.
I also don't think he's teamed up with anybody. That's another thing as well. He's got to like learn to like trust.
I mean, well, he trusts Commissioner.
Yeah, but Commissioner Gordon's a cop.
Yeah, he hasn't teamed up with anybody as fine. Yeah, as fine. As Zoe Kravitz and shit. So,
Zoe Kravitz, man, damn.
So yeah, I haven't really been a fan of her acting, to be honest. She always looked fine. We know this, but I always thought she was a bit wooden. So I think she's finally been able to like flex a little bit and like, you know, get good.
I think her movements as well. Like just I think even Robert Pattinson to some degree, man. Like the way she just embodied the character was really, really good. Like her movements, like just in general.
The way, the way she struts, the way she walks, the way she fights.
Exactly. It's just very like it really grabs your attention, and you're like, all right, this person is really serious about what they're doing, and they're doing it with intent. As well.
Definitely, definitely Michelle Pfeiffer quality. Anne Hathaway was, aight at times, but
Halle Berry. All right, sorry.
We don't talk about Halle Berry. No. She was fine. The movie was just trash. Yeah. But yeah.
Anyway, I don't know why you're trashing Halle Berry. Halle Berry's still an OG, man.
No, she's still fine as hell. But
come on,
Catwoman.
Come on,
was whack.
Oh, stop it.
You liked Catwoman?
I don't know why you put me on the spot like that. You know what the thing is? I'm just
tell me you like Catwoman.
I'm just the type of person who is not necessarily. You know, I don't really like to. I'm not a big critic of films. You know what I mean? Like I don't like if a movie is not good, I'll sort of like, I won't trash it. You, on the other hand, are different.
I'll trash I'll roast the shit out of it.
You just start going off like rants on Facebook, like, yo, don't even watch that shit. That shit was like, Tony, calm down.
When's the last time I said don't watch?
Okay, obviously that's exaggeration, but the point I'm trying to make is that like you really go off on movies, and I'm just like, I'll just say it was okay.
But I could pick if there's some good in it.
Yeah.
I'll say there's good in it. Like, for an example, like Robert Pattinson, he proved me somewhat wrong. Yeah. Like, I thought he did a good job, so I'll admit, all right, I was kind of wrong. Like, that being said, I do think that the movie is designed in such a way that if you have half a brain and you're not completely horrible and you embody the character the way you're supposed to, it's almost impossible to mess up. Yeah. Batman, unless you do something really, really crazy. Yeah. I don't think he did anything to revolutionize the character.
I don't think he forced anything. Like, it was just like, I don't think he went out of his way to say, all right, I'm going to show people that I am Batman.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It was just like scene by scene, I think he did, although that one scene was weird where he was like staring into like Catwoman's eyes. And we thought that they were going to like make out, but he was just testing the camera.
Oh, no, I like that because it shows how... It shows how socially awkward. I did call him Mr. Sparkles hella loud. Yeah. But I do like that it shows how socially awkward, or it's not even occurring to him that somebody could like him, or he doesn't know how to speak to a girl. She wanted confirmation, like, I have your back, and he didn't know that because he didn't talk to chicks. Yeah. Colin Farrell as a penguin fucking killed it. Like, I couldn't even tell.
How tall is Colin Farrell?
I don't know. I think he's a tall dude.
Yeah, but that's the thing with Penguin. Like, Penguin's mad short.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, that didn't really bother me. He still had the gimp and everything.
No, but that's kind of, it makes it even better. It makes it even better.
And ultimately. Just with all the makeup, the dude was doing like 4 hours of makeup a day or something like that. But with the accent and the way he was acting, like, you can't tell it's Colin Farrell. John Turturro plays.
Falcone. Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
He was perfect. That's one thing I really like about this movie too, that I feel like other superhero movies don't get right, because when they have gangsters,
they try to get gangsters. They try to get like,
it's like they're caricatures of gangsters, like they just look ridiculous, or and I felt like this actually felt grounded. Like, not that I've ever,
but I wasn't been
around gangsters, but
I never expected that from him, like, to be that good.
Who, Turturro?
Yeah.
Nah, he's an OG, man. He's always...
No, I know he's an OG, but just in that role as as what's this?
Falcone.
As Falcone.
Yeah.
I didn't expect him to be that good. I'm not talking about his Transformers stuff.
Yeah.
No, I'm not gonna talk about that.
What? Nah, he's been around before that. Even doing right there.
Yeah. But I was just like, oh shit.
Nah, he killed it.
Looks really good.
Yeah. I also like the element they brought in. We were just talking about that. So come to find out, there's this plot having to do with, what happened is that Thomas Wayne had to cover up the fact, the history of mental illness.
Yeah, with Martha Wayne. Yeah.
And it makes perfect sense that there's mental illness in their family, because Bruce Wayne, homeboy, is running around in a giant costume
instead of trying to get help.
Something's up.
I mean, I guess that's his way of, I wouldn't say dealing with the death of his parents, but I always said the thing with Batman is just like, listen, man, just talk to somebody. Stop running around in the damn cape with bat ears and shit. Like, just talk to somebody.
Get your levels right.
There was a lot of that's another thing. There was a lot of bats in that movie. I mean, it's expected, but it's like, even when he goes into the bat cave, there's literal
hella bats.
There's hella bats.
Yeah. But so I like that element too. And they also set up, like, the Waynes and the Arkhams were, like, the two big families that took over. So they're clearly setting up more to do with Arkham. I always thought that would be cool.
They're doing a spinoff for that, right? I think
not Arkham. No, they're doing a spinoff for Penguin's getting a spinoff, and Gotham is getting they're doing a spinoff where it's year one. It's what happens a year before that.
Okay.
So I think it would be interesting if they did a movie or like a limited series or something where it's just like Bruce Wayne, just like Assault on Arkham. If anybody's seen that animated movie, it's worth checking out. Yeah. Where it's just like same thing, like a mystery of something going on in Arkham and him having to figure out who it is, or like the video game. Yeah. So I would like to see that. it seems like what they're setting up is like a no man land, where spoiler alert, the city is flooded from Riddler's plan, and so it's kind of like the Gotham's divided into territories, and all these guys that we know, like Penguin and them, they have their own territories, and they touched on that in the Gotham show, but it was hella whack. But yeah, so that's gonna be interesting.
I don't know. You know what I didn't like? I liked the Riddler's plan, but I don't know. It felt weird that Gotham was like flooded. Like, I don't know. That whole thing. I don't know. I just didn't like it for some reason.
You didn't like what?
Like I would have wanted to explore a bit more of Gotham before it just becomes like a flood zone, and then everybody's like rushing into like what was it? Gotham. Gotham, what was it, like Madison Square Garden? What's it called?
Gotham Square Garden.
They
know what it really was.
Yeah, they call it Gotham Square Garden.
Come on, man.
Yeah, that little sequence at the end. I just wish they could have like done something I don't know. You guys will watch it and check it out.
In terms of, that's the thing. I feel like the third act, I think it did drag on a little bit. That's the problem with the 3-hour movie. Yeah. I mean, and the first act is at such a high level. The stuff that's going on is so dope.
Yeah, the stakes are high, man.
The stakes are high from jump. So by the time they got to Act 3, it was kind of like that Doomsday-esque type thing where they kind of fell into the same trap, and it just kind of like dragged on a little bit. I still really liked it. But it just dragged on.
No, pacing. I think pacing-wise,
the first 2 acts were perfect in terms of pacing. And then it just dragged on just a little bit. Yeah. Oh man, let's talk about. So there's one scene where Bruce gets knocked out and wakes up in a police station, and we got this overzealous.
Oh man, that was
this overzealous black cop.
That was no. You know what? Here's my thing, right? Let's start from the beginning, right? So I mean, we still argued about this afterwards, after the theater, where the DA's he had like a time bomb on his neck, and then it blows up right in front of Batman. Not a scratch on his face at least, but whatever. It's cool.
Yeah, just like that. That's the same thing that happened at Peter Parker in Spider-Man 1 and stuff. The bomb went off and no cuts.
I was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, but whatever.
We'll excuse that. What was I gonna say? What was I gonna say? Wait, what were we talking about?
We were talking about Homeboy, the black dude who really tried to snatch his cowl from his.
No, so it starts off with like where the bomb explodes, right? But that was at the City Hall, right, where they're having the funeral.
Yeah.
And then from City Hall, all the way to the police station, nobody tried to take that shit off. Because he must have been transported there, obviously, right? Because they were in a police cell.
That's a little sus.
So I'm like, all right, sure, because he was knocked out. He only woke up.
No, it makes it because Gordon would have been there transporting him, defending him, making sure nobody takes off the mask.
Oh, okay.
But that being said, like, guy really tried to snatch the mask. Batman waked up, almost split his wig open.
It was the first time, right?
The first time.
It was the first time.
And while they're Homeboy, try to grab,
It was honestly the funniest, probably the
most disrespectful,
the funniest part of the movie
thing I've seen in a while.
Definitely the funniest part of the movie.
That was funny.
How are you gonna try to grab Batman by his helmet right here, literally, and say, "Man, let's just take that shit off"?
And Madison is iron deficient, so his neck jerked a little bit.
Yo, Robert Pattinson's gonna start talking shit about you, man. You better watch it.
No, he's done. I told you, I gotta get my last roastings out, bro. Man. It's out of love, man. It's out of love. But yeah. And to backtrack, the funeral scene was also very well done too, man. When Riddler was quizzing the corrupt DA and stuff. It's funny if you notice, he's wasting the timer on purpose. Like he's using like extra words, like here's a new question. Because he knows the time is gonna run out. He knows it's a wrap.
But I think ultimately he knew that he wasn't gonna snitch.
Yeah,
because
crazy.
That was the last riddle, right?
Yeah,
he was like, "Who's the rat?" Basically, like who paid the bribe.
And rarely do you ever see in Batman someone not snitch when Batman intimidates him. I think it was a very important scene because it indicates like how deep and how powerful the corruption is.
Yeah.
And so this guy,
like, his life was on the line, and he said,
and he
nah,
still
I'm
really
not,
know,
I'm still
and
not gonna do it.
homeboy,
And he knew it.
blew himself up. He
knew it.
Well, I mean, they would probably find him and torture him, so he's like, I just go out,
Yeah.
And homeboy really blew up and stuff. So that was really well done.
Now the Riddler, I think the Riddler's plan from like start to finish was, it really kept you, it kept you guessing. Like, from an audience's point of view, it really made you like interact with what was going on there. Because it's like, the first thing, obviously, he leaves a letter to Batman. So then you think, all right, the next time he's going to kill somebody, there's going to be another letter to Batman. What's going to happen? And then in the back of your head, you start trying to figure out, all right, what does this riddle mean? Yeah. Like, I was in the theater half the time when he was asking, what was that last? No, I think it was towards the end, right? Where he meets up with...
Spoiler alert! The Joker makes an appearance, played by...
I think it's Barry. I can't pronounce his last name. It's not
I'll
Quinoa.
I'll put the name in. But it's the same. He played the guy in the Eternals, the only one that was like tolerable for me. But I'll get into that another time.
Oh, come on, Tony. Oh, Dios mío.
But
oh god.
But yeah, so that was interesting too, because Joker gets, spoiler alert, he's in Arkham, and
yeah, he's in Arkham already.
And Joker befriends him. He befriends him, but the scene is dope. He does like a riddle, and stuff. He's like, "What's valuable?" What is it?
Oh no. The less of them you have, the more valuable you are.
Right. So and then he's like, a friend, and they just start cackling and stuff. I mean, the guard was probably hella scared.
I mean, that just tells me that neither one of them trust each other, and one of them's gonna kill each other. But whatever.
You think so? I mean,
because he's clearly saying like, "Yo, don't have any friends, and you'll be better off in life." So why would the Joker befriend the Riddler?
No,
that's what I'm saying.
I think the Joker is going to manipulate
him. Like, low key, that's just really what it is.
I think the Joker is going to manipulate him. I think he's actually going to befriend him and then play him. Yeah. Because in every Batman comic book I've read, what everybody decides to do is they decide to go to the Joker, and the Joker ends up fucking playing everybody. Like, they
as if they don't know.
As if they didn't know the first time. 5 times. 5 times, more like 500 times, and they still like, oh shit, he's off the rails. Oh snap, what do we do?
Nah.
Yeah. But yeah, so
you know, one thing as well that I really enjoy, even though they don't touch base on the origin story. So I mean, they kind of get into what's Thomas and Martha Wayne's backstory, so to speak. But like the Bruce Wayne origin, we know what it is. He's going out to a theater, and then boom, his parents get killed and whatnot. We know that. But throughout the film, you see, I think it was one of the guys running for mayor, and then he gets killed. Like he's like basically the Riddler's first victim, and he really you have these shots of him of Batman looking at his kid. You know
yeah.
And like throughout the film, there's kind of like these moments where like you can tell, even though they're not gonna do his origin story, people know what happened to Batman. I mean, you would hope that in 2022 people know what happened to Bruce Wayne.
So you're saying it's kind of mirroring what happened.
Exactly. It's sort of like, you're trying to get into the head of Batman and really what he's going through, right? And you can tell that he's still distraught about, or he's not even made peace. Because I think with, let's say, older Batman movies, let's say Ben Affleck's or Christian Bale's, they're more Bruce Wayne, and I think that has to do with them making peace with what happened to them as a child. You know what I mean?
You think they made
not made peace, but like, you know what? They've embodied Bruce Wayne more. You know, like Robert Pattinson's Bruce Wayne wants nothing to do with the company.
Well, yeah,
right?
he doesn't want the legacy and stuff.
He wants nothing to do with that.
Alfred tries to convince him.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Alfred does as much as he possibly can, and he says like, you know what? I don't fucking care about this shit. I'm just going to this damn funeral, because it's for the for like, just for show. But he really doesn't. But in those moments where like we see the kid look back at Batman or look back at Bruce Wayne, and you have that sort of like those those shots back to back. You can tell that in the back of like Batman's head, he's like, damn, all right, this kid's about to be an orphan. Like, I was going through that thing, and that is kind of like the pain that I'm still going through right now. And I think that was That was pretty cool because the first shot is of him in the bat suit, right? When the cops are talking to the kid and then the kid just looks at him, and then we have that sort of like slow motion moment where it's like, all right, and then it's at the funeral, and then boom, what happens? Bruce Wayne saves the kid because remember the car just boom rushes in, and then he saves the kid. So I kind of liked where they were going with that. It's like, you know, even the whole orphanage thing, they don't touch on the origin story, but they kind of like circle around it. That was pretty cool.
It also made me wonder: are they setting up like a variation of like Robin,
like a
or
young
something like that?
Yeah, but how young could that Robin be, man?
I mean,
like how young?
Robin was Robin was young when Robin first he was like a little kid or something like that. So I mean the next one a few years could pass. You know, they could do a time skip if they want to. If you like, you know, to see what happened with the flooding and how it affected Gotham, so you really propel that shit. Because I would assume it's not going to be right after the first one. So you could do a time skip and maybe have him a little older or set that up.
Nah, I was gonna say they could do. I was thinking a Nathan Drake thing, but I think it's like that's way too ahead of the time. Like if they want to do like Nightwing or whatever, that has to be like much further down.
No, he still has to be Robin.
Yeah, he's still got to be Robin first, and then they hit into that. No, but that was pretty cool. Even at the end, yeah, like I think the connections or whatever Matt Reeves was trying to do with like Batman and kids. There were certain moments where like he sort of like connects with that, or that's where it's like you know how Batman has all these walls. That's where the walls kind of like break down, and where he says, "Oh shit, this kid's going through a lot." You know what I mean? And you could see it like on Robert Pattinson's face. He sees himself in that kid when the kid was all alone. Yeah. You know.
I also liked the scene where Falcone talks about how he got cool with Thomas Wayne, how he got shot doing, you know, some mobster stuff. Yeah. And Thomas Wayne operated on him. He came up to Thomas Wayne's door.
That was an interesting story. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Him,
yeah. And Bruce Wayne saw the whole thing looking above and stuff. And spoiler alert, Falcone gets sniped by the Riddler, which was an interesting scene. And Batman is looking down at him as he's dying. So it's like a callback to when he was a kid. Yep. So I'm also wondering if like before Falcone died, he figured out that, oh, that's Bruce. I feel like he figured it out. Like in his last one, he figured out who it was. So it was a small, but it was very well done. And Andy Serkis, man, we were just saying like, yo, dude, I don't know how I feel about him playing Alfred. He did a good job, but I feel like it's a waste of talent because. You know,
because he could do so. We know how good. Like
Homeboy could play the Joker. Homeboy could play the Riddler. Homeboy could play like any villain, any of the role, the Penguin. You know, so I felt it was a waste, but he still did a really good job, and I liked the relationship between him and Bruce. Yeah. And it was one of the few times that you see that they have like any kind of affection towards each other when he's in the hospital. I mean, you do see that in Batman and Robin,
But I think that also, well, I guess this is a pretty young Bruce Wayne that they went for. Relatively younger Bruce Wayne.
Relatively young, yeah.
You know, so I think that kind of like goes back to
like
that. Because I mean, just, you know, you think of some of the Batman films, a lot of these guys were like much older. So maybe it's sort of like a father, and they do reference that a lot, the father-son thing, where he says, you know, in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, he's like, you're not my dad.
That was like, I wouldn't say such an emo thing to do, but it was just so like, you know,
it was like an angsty teen. That's why I thought he was in his early 20s, but I guess he's in his mid 20s.
Late 20s. Late 20s. Because he was like, it's been 20 years since the way. Yeah.
Too grown to be like, you're not my dad, Alfred.
Yeah, it was like, so it starts off with that, and then obviously after, Alfred goes to the hospital, and you know they sort of had that conversation, and Alfred's like, you know, all these years I've been training you when you actually needed a father. Yeah, you know.
So now we know like that's how he learned how to fight. That Alfred is the one. That's also an interesting element too. You see, now I'm curious about the background story. I don't want him to do a whole movie, but I'm curious as to what Batman's training was. You know, so that was an interesting element. But it could be more interesting the fact that they kind of left it ambiguous. And didn't do a whole freaking movie of him running through.
Or a montage. Yeah, because I think they would have done like a
Tibet
montage.
Mountains and shit and all that. Yeah. So, but a waste of time. But He's still killed.
Nah, but he did a pretty good job, man. But you're right about the connection that was going on between the two. I think it was sort of. It did seem. What I will say is that because it's a much younger Batman, I think to a certain audience it could seem more relatable. You know, because he's not as older. You can still, not that he's a child or whatever, or not that he's childish. But there's certain things that he's doing that are just like, what the hell are you doing? Like, he goes to the club, he's like, do you know who I am? You know, like, I was kind of like, yo, what are you doing?
Yeah, he's still and
he's
young.
still learning. And I think that's, there's a youthfulness about what Robert Pattinson, or just a much younger Batman has, which was pretty cool to see. He's like, he goes into Batwoman's, Selena Kyle's apartment, he's like, you got a lot of cats.
Yeah, I like that.
Oh man, no, they have. There's a lot of good comedic moments for like a movie that's supposed to be really serious. The comedic timing was pretty good.
And I can't front. He got the Batman rasp. He got it right.
Yeah, he got it right.
It wasn't too much. It wasn't like, I mean,
where is she?
Yeah, where is she? Where is she? It's a psychotropic hallucinogen.
Where is she?
That was ridiculous. Yeah, it was somewhere in between Keaton and Bale and stuff. I actually really like Batfleck's voice, but his was more modulated and stuff. They completely modulated.
Yeah.
So I thought, it wasn't too ridiculous.
Would you want to see? I mean, I know the director said it's probably not, but would you want to see like other DC heroes? No.
Like, no DC heroes. No DC heroes.
No Wonder Woman.
Keep it. No. I don't want to wonder where she is. She could stay home.
I mean, I think Superman is a little bit extreme, but like nothing.
I don't want to see any. I don't want to, unless it has to do with the Bat family. I don't want to see it.
So you wouldn't mind seeing like
the second you do
you wouldn't mind seeing like Raish and
absolutely,
okay.
But the second you involve all these people, it's like you muddy the waters. It's not like that. Like you
kind of dilute the film.
You dilute the film
in terms of like really
it no
the
longer
good quality.
It no longer becomes about them. It's all about the Justice League, and we have to figure this out. And I like that we got a detective movie that we haven't gotten, and it's just about him. It's like a character piece.
Yeah.
You can concentrate on these characters. Yeah. When you have 10 Justice League members, their butlers, and all this other shit going on, and shit, you can't really delve into character development. You know?
No, that's true.
So
that's true.
I really, as much as I like the Justice League and all that, and Avenger movies, like, we need to go back to like
just
movies
making
like
good
this.
Solo films,
right? And this was definitely that. This was definitely
good solo films.
Yes, yeah. What else? The score. Were you gonna say something?
No, I was gonna say I think you are right about what you said earlier about like the MCU films.
Yeah.
I mean, the Iron Man one, that was like a solo.
And that was the only one after that.
I mean, really, if you think about it.
And most movies are like.
I mean, the first Captain America film, it did have Bucky, but he wasn't really.
No, it still wasn't.
The driving point.
But then Iron Man 2, then you introduce Nick Fury. You're already trying to set up the. Avengers.
Because I think those first, even Thor, so to speak, those first films were just the only solo projects. Everything after that is like, all right, we're leading up to Endgame, we're leading up to Infinity War, we're leading up to all this stuff. Right. We're gonna try to bring cameos. We're gonna try to bring, sort of make this amalgamation of all these crazy. Right. And I think it works. It works for what Disney's doing.
But not for. Not for this. I mean, the thing with Batman though is Batman is a universe within itself. You have so many interesting characters.
Yeah, there's a whole lot
that are interesting than a lot of the other. Batman easily has the best rogues gallery out of anybody. So you don't need.
Yeah.
You don't need all this extra stuff. They've barely gotten these characters right. We've never gotten a good Riddler aside from this movie.
Yeah.
Danny DeVito did kill it as the Penguin. Shouts out to him.
Yeah.
But I like this one.
Yeah.
So it was just a really fresh take on this movie, on the Batman series. So I'm looking forward to
Keep it solo, Warner Brothers. Keep it solo. Keep it solo. Keep it solo.
The score, Michael Giacchino.
Yeah. I'm definitely adding it to my my gym playlist. I got like a whole, even Hans Zimmer. I got like a whole bunch of Hans Zimmer on my gym workout.
Yeah, classic.
Man. It's
it's good when like people were coming out the theaters and they kept going. They kept like mimicking the
yeah.
So I like that. Yeah, I also, shouts out to Hans Zimmer, but Homeboy scored like the last how many DC movies, all the way from the Nolan movies.
Yeah.
So I think it was I think it was good that they changed it up a little bit. They changed it up. What else? Yeah, so I mean that pretty much. I'm trying to think any other.
I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing maybe like a Titan, something like that.
Nah.
Nothing.
Nah. It's like it was a perfect detective movie. I don't want.
And you want to keep it within that sort of like.
You could bring in Robin.
Yeah.
You could bring in Batgirl. At some point you can bring in Damian or whatever.
Because so to speak, I mean, throughout the movie he kind of works with Selena Kyle. So
right.
I mean, obviously Jim Gordon as well, but he sort of works with somebody else.
Yeah.
It's not just only him, but it doesn't take away from his story.
No, that's still the Batman universe.
Yeah, it's still the Batman
but I don't want to see Superman whiz by or something. I don't want to see the Flash dip quick. Or
not even some what's this? Some Easter eggs.
No.
You don't want to see like some kryptonite somewhere?
No
Nothing?
kryptonite. I don't want to see no kryptonite, no water.
No kryptonite, no flash ring, no
tridents.
tridents.
No tridents nowhere at the beach. I don't see none of that. Keep it a solo film. You hear me, Warner Brothers? Keep it a solo.
Oh, man. I will see what happens, man.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
I mean, but they have that. Keep it. This is like an Elseworld thing. So this is separate. You have, well, I guess they're going to end the Snyder universe and then with the Flash.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask, wait, which comes out first, Flash or Aquaman?
I believe Aquaman comes out first, and then Flash comes out. And so I think they're going to restart, if I'm not mistaken. It's the Flash from Snyder's universe, and I think they're going to establish a new Flash. They're also Michael Keaton's going to be in it, and Ben Affleck's going to be in it. So they're going to establish whatever that universe is, and I'm cool with that.
Well, I feel like they need to like close. I think they just need to close that chapter.
Well, they're going to close the chapter and open a new one.
I don't think you can continue to like make, because casting wise, I mean, Henry Cavill as Superman is pretty good. I don't think you can just like close that chapter completely. I think Ben Affleck has completely like washed his hands of the whole thing. But I just think Superman, because that's the thing about Zack Snyder's project, it kind of revolved around Superman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't really think.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like it was just like hijacked from Superman.
Yeah, fair point. Yeah, it was.
Because you could tell.
I'm still mad at the screen time that Superman got, man. In actually in both the Snyder cut and the theatrical cut, there was no difference. Like that's probably the one thing between the Snyder cut and the theatrical. Even though we got to see the black suit, screen time wise,
but the thing is, if
wasn't nothing.
Superman can't be in that too long because
he's overpowered. He's like OP.
He's an OP.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to find a balance. I don't want it to be like the Hulk in Infinity War. Homeboy got karate chopped in the throat and was out of the movie the whole time. Like that shit.
Yeah, fair point. Fair point. Yeah.
So you got to find a balance. But long story short, yeah, keep it. This detective story was perfect the way it is. I don't want anybody else to come in. I don't want 3 Batmans to be in a movie together like Spider-Man. Keep that type of
you don't want that?
Separate.
You don't want multiverse?
Well, they're going to do that for the Flash. You're going to have 2 Batmans.
Yeah.
Keep it over there. I don't want this Batman to cross over.
Yeah.
I think the universe is perfect the way it is. I don't mind seeing a whole bunch of movies. I'm skeptical about the shows, but I'm sure they'll make it work. It seems like they've been on a roll with their shows, so we'll see. I'll give them a chance.
What, you mean like the TV shows? Like the CW stuff?
No, they're HBO Max.
Oh, you mean the spin-off, the spin-off that's coming out from this.
So I want to see that.
Okay.
What else?
And that's what I've always felt about just DC content in general. Like the animated stuff is so good. It's really, really good. But then you look at some of like, besides obviously like the Christopher Nolan stuff, everything that's happened post Zack Snyder, I was kind of like, okay, this is kind of disappointing. You know, they could do much better.
Yeah.
And I think they're kind of finding their niche. All right, let's just get a director, say, listen, make one good solo film and take it from there.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. What else? I mean, so yeah, we spoke about Paul Dano, right?
Yeah, we spoke about
how
Paul
we killed
Dano.
it and stuff. Yeah, so I guess we could wrap it up.
Very nerdy look. I would not have thought that guy was a Riddler, man. I would not have thought that guy was the Riddler.
Riddler always looked like a cornball.
Like it's
he always looked like a cornball. One thing that annoyed me though, man, like really before he got arrested, he had to put a little question mark in his latte and shit. Did he work for Starbucks or some shit?
What's wrong with that?
That's corny, man. What's the point?
What is corny about that?
What's the point of putting, man? That was
corny about that?
Unnecessary.
Okay, what would have been more corny is I'm glad they actually didn't do this because I was thinking about this because you see it in the trailer as well. You see the question mark in the trailer. I'm glad they didn't have a shot where all the cops are just looking into the cup. Because it's like, because remember there's this long shot where it leans into like the cup, right?
It's a clue.
And usually sometimes it's like, it'll follow up with the detectives looking at it. That would have been bad. Yeah, I think that would have been bad.
Agreed.
But overall, good movie, man.
Yeah, so definitely the Batman is worth seeing. It's one of the best Batman movies up to date. I personally think I have to watch The Dark Knight to say if I like it more. I don't think so. I don't know. I also like the Tim Burton movies a lot too. I mean, I think I would probably rank it somewhere second or third.
It's definitely in the top 5 though, right?
Well, I mean, there's only like 7 or whatever, but
by default. Yeah.
But it's definitely like top 2 quality. It's worth seeing if you have a chance to watch it. I wouldn't suggest you wait to watch it at HBO Max. You got to see it in a theater. My only thing is, the first time I saw it, I watched it in Lincoln Square AMC, and then we saw it at Kips Bay.
I was gonna say, people were saying you should try to watch it at a Dolby theater, just because soundtrack wise and just like the feel that you get from it.
That's fine.
People were saying that as well.
That's cool, but yeah, you want the sound, but I noticed that Kips Bay, it was a bit darker. Like they didn't get their projectors right or whatever.
Oh, because you watched it. Okay, so
I watched it and you could clearly tell the projector. It was brighter.
It was brighter. Okay.
So I noticed some scenes were a little too dark. Batman needs to look dark, but I don't think the projectors were calibrated properly. Okay. So just be cautious of that. But yeah, it's definitely worth watching, man. If you have a chance, go see the Batman. Any last words?
Or the White Man, as you called it.
He is no longer. Robert Pattinson has evolved from Whackman, Mr. Sparkles, Edward, Cedric Diggory, my boy,
to Bruce, to I am vengeance.
To vengeance.
Yo, that opening scene though, I don't think we talked about that opening scene, like his first combat scene.
Oh, it was straight fire.
Oh man, it's
straight fire.
Oh man, that was. Even though again we see this in the trailer, but it's just the action sequences, man, the fight, the combat, and that's what I like. That's why the Captain America movies are still my favorite films, because the combat is insane. And what I liked about this one, and maybe we didn't get too much of that in Batfleck, we didn't get too much combat, because again, you have soups around him, so it kind of takes away from that whole thing. Right?
Batman vs Superman, when he's in the warehouse and he's messing up those dudes. You don't remember? It looked straight like from Arkham.
Yeah,
that shit was straight fire. It was one scene, but it rivals like that. Still might be top fighting scene. I gotta watch it again. But it was like
but the combat in this was insane, man.
It was good. Yeah,
the combat in this was insane. Yeah.
So I guess let's sum it up. So
all
right. So once again,
it's what's this, Infinity
Blerd? Why you laughing at my name? So, I'm not gonna edit this. You hear how he laughs at my name, people? You hear how he laughs at my name?
Wow. That's a new one. That's a new one.
Now you know.
Infinity Blerd.
That's right.
Wow. All right.
So it's the Infinity Blerd, your friendly neighborhood nerd and movie buff. You can watch this on YouTube and all available podcast platforms. Hope you guys enjoyed, and you will see us soon. All right.
Cling, cling, cling.
Signing off.
All right. Ndavu.
Peace.
Peace. Bye.